6 o'clock. I call this Town of Adams Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. Could everyone please stand and join the Board of Selectmen in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have two sets of minutes. The first one is May 14th, 2025. What's the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to waive the minutes of the May 14th, 2025 meeting and to approve as such.
Okay, a motion to approve the minutes and waive the reading of the minutes by Ann. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstention.
Christine, abstention. Next, we have an amended set of minutes, May 21st, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the amended May 21st, 2025 meeting minutes and a motion to waive the reading.
Okay, so that's all part of one motion to waive the reading. We have a motion by Ann. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention. Chair. Next is public comment. Anyone who would like to address the Board of Selectmen from the audience?
Mr. Chairman, before you do that, can you please remind folks that this meeting is being recorded?
Thank you very much. This meeting is being recorded. Anyone who in the audience who would like to record part or all of this meeting, please inform the chair. You can do it. Just inform the chair. Okay, thank you. Now, public comment. Okay. All right, next is new business, the appointment of Tom Dubus to the Adams Housing Authority for a term expiring on January 30th, 2030. You do have a letter here.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Tom Dubus to the Adams Housing Authority for a term expiring on January 30th, 2030.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jay. Bill, do you want to come up? Anything to, information for the board?
So I'm William Shea, the Executive Director for the Adams Housing Authority. So we had a resignation of the state appointee, Linda Zivicki, on January 13, 2025. State law for state-appointed board, housing authority board seats is that the state has the right to make an appointment within 120 days, which is, I think I copied everyone and put the public housing notice on there. Public housing notice 2016-27. If they have not appointed a person after 120 days, City Council or Board of Selectmen have the right to make that appointment. I contacted the state. They chose not to make an appointment, which I expected because they don't know Jane Doe from John Doe for being in a town, and they really want to put the ownership, of what's going on to the town. I posted the vacancy. I requested Haley to put it on the town website, which she did. We posted it on the board here in front of the town clerks. Posted it at the Housing Authority. We put it on our website. I came before the Board of Selectmen to announce that there was a vacancy. I think we have outreached everywhere where it was. Tom Dubus had put his name in for 19.5 Quality Street. And so I'm just presenting the name. The Executive Director and the Board of Commissioners are not endorsing or
Oops, sorry, I got video or speaker on.
Yeah.
we're not endorsing or the candidate, I'm just presenting forward of who it was. And typically, we let it go a little longer. However, I'm coming to the beginning of my fiscal year, and I really do need a full board, especially for my end of the year stuff that we're gonna need to approve in August, and I'm requesting that you guys make this appointment. And just very quickly, because I know you have a lot going on, I know it's a weird date of January 30th, 2025. The reason being is that you appoint 4 years and 8 months, well, it has to be 7 months because it's gone past 120 days. If you do it immediately, that is the date that comes up for the appointment, compared to a strict, a typical either 5-year appointment on the date that it gets approved, or a 3-year. So that's the reason. It's the state being the state, as I always say.
Okay, any questions from the board? All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Any abstentions? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we're still on a new business, item item B, appointments of Jessica Barassa Pitroff as principal representative and Dr. David Rhodes as alternate representative to the Northern Berkshire Opioid Collaborative. Ken, want to talk to that?
Yes, I was only able to notify Ms. Pitroff and Dr. Rhodes late this afternoon. I apologize for that oversight, so I don't think either of them are here with us this evening. But by mutual agreement, Jessica would serve as the principal representative to this board, and David has agreed to step back and act as the alternate representative. And you can see she's has a background in the field, and would be ideal, I think, given her background in mental health and her current service on the Love of Tea Foundation as lead period administrative assistant to serve in the principal's role. And she attended the last meeting, and in fact, they would like her to serve as the vice chair of that organization, and she has agreed to do that, but she has to be the principal representative. And I quote what she said to me: she would be honored to have the opportunity to fill this role on behalf of the town.
Okay, any questions for Ken? All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the appointments of Jessica Barassa Pitroff as principal representative and Dr. David Rhodes as alternative representative to the Northern Berkshire Opioid Collaborative.
Okay, we have a motion by Ann. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimous decision. All right, next, item C, kickoff meeting with Rick White of Grant White Consulting LLC in regards to the town administrative recruitment. And Ken, won't you start this off, please?
Yes. I believe we have Rick on the screen. We've corresponded and spoken to each other, but we've not had a chance to meet, and I hope he can see us all here. And I'll introduce everybody. To my immediate left, we have Bree Hampton, who is our executive assistant, who will be working with us. Of course, I'm Ken Walter Rick. We have John Duval, who's chair of the board. We have Ann Bartlett, who's vice chair, Christine Hort, Jay Meswar, and Joe Novak, the other members of the board. And as I said to Rick, he'll take us through the plan, he'll answer your questions, we'll speak specifically about a selection committee. I know some of you have been through this more than once, but I think it would be good to hear how Rick plans to help us. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Rick.
Okay, well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for investing in us. We hope to invest in you. I won't go into great detail. Our proposal you have. I will tell you that we've been in business for 25 years. It was started by my former boss, Tom Brew, who was town manager of Manchester, where we both shared our working environment there. He created the firm because there was no search firms in Massachusetts. And he wanted to create one with the municipal perspective as opposed to a headhunter perspective. Someone who understood local government, the culture that exists in each community in Massachusetts. It was focused on recruiting and bringing in candidates who have great technical skills, but also are a good fit months, you should figure out whether or not you like each other and want to work with each other. If they don't last 18 months, we'll do the second search for free. In 25 years with hundreds of searches, we've never had to fulfill that guarantee. Because we really focus on fit, understanding the community first, understanding the staff needs, understanding through interviews with community leaders that are suggested by you, exactly what Adams is all about, what the culture there is like, the governance culture, the operational culture, and how to be successful in a place like Adams. Massachusetts is unique in its forms of government, and unique in its communities. Everyone is different, everyone has their own culture, and we believe it's incredibly important to find out as much about the community and what makes it tick and what makes it successful as possible before we do the search. So next week I'll be working with Bree in scheduling meetings with the staff, mostly department heads, in which I'll pick their brains, for anywhere between 20 minutes and a half an hour each. If someone needs more time, we'll schedule it. And if you look at my proposal or our proposal, you'll see that we generally write up a synopsis of the feedback that we got from that. And we find that very valuable. We also asked the select board to identify 2 people in the community that they think have substantial influence in the community, to forward to us their contacts so we can interview them. We can interview anywhere between 10 and 15 people that you suggest, just to get a feel for what some of the, what I call the community leaders of Adams feel is important as, what the town's priorities are and what is a good fit and what success will look like for the new town administrator 1 year, 5 years from now. We write up the feedback that we get from that in a synopsis. And then we forward those 2 synopsises to you, where I'll interview you each individually for as long as it takes to get your feedback and write that. We found historically, remarkably, that the feedback that we get from the different groups is very similar thematically, but the definitions of those themes are completely different based on whether you're talking to the staff, whether you're talking to elected officials, or whether you're talking to community leaders. Transparency and accountability means one thing to you, another thing to the staff, and even different to the community. So we try to use that as a way, when we do recruit candidates, to inform them and prepare them for what life would be like in Adams as a town administrator. Generally, that will take me a week to write out and finish. So I'm expecting within that week to wrap this up. I'm assuming you've got a salary range for this position. If not, we can establish one with you for you. If you have, we can put an advertisement right away. We'll develop a brochure that I send out to about 400 people on our mailing list. We don't expect everybody to respond. The talent pool in Massachusetts right now is not as deep as it used to be, and recruiting is very difficult. We find that casting a wide net and doing networking and getting referrals is what makes us get a good candidate. About 75% of the people that we recruit weren't really looking for a job. the International City Management Association website, a whole association of New England manager websites, as well as a women in government website connected directly to ICMA. Our last recruit, believe it or not, we were actually able to get 33 applicants, which was huge. When Ken and I were competing for jobs, we probably competed against 145 people because the baby boomers were very, committed to service in local government or government service. And probably about 45 of them were competent and workable. But the market is completely different. Of those 33, I was able to recommend to the screening committee that they interview 12 of them. Eventually, they interviewed 11. Just last night, they narrowed the field down to 4. I'm doing reference checks on them now, and the Fairhaven Select Board will make a selection fairly soon. And that will be done. Most of that work's done. But for my purposes, to get my ballot to a screening committee, it will take about, after the week of investment and interviewing, it will take about 6 weeks. The rest is really up to the screening committee. I will provide the town with a PDF file with all the applications. Generally, some memo that describes the candidate's style and a listing of their selected accomplishments professionally, at least the ones that I'm recommending that they interview. And I will sit with the screening committee, review the applicants, and explain to them why I'm recommending the candidates that I recommend. The screening committee is by no means limited to what I recommend. I'm here to serve them. I'm here to provoke them to think for sure, but in the end, this is your town, your community, and they ought to decide. We do all the scheduling of interviews. Generally, they're an executive session. There's the public participation in these processes is evolving. It's not in statute, it's in legal findings. Before, you used to be able to identify questions and talk about scheduling in executive session. Now, the only thing you're allowed to do about in executive session is to protect the confidentiality of the people who are involved. So I'll be working with the screening committee with that. That process, if you have a good screening committee, could take 2 to 3 weeks at the most. And then I'll need another week to do reference checks and background checks, quarterly SOAR checks. And, shortly thereafter, you should have 4 candidates. That's a brief overview of, how we do business. Again, I think it's a very thoughtful and in-depth process. There was mention of our screening committee, and if we should have one. I think it's a very thoughtful foot forward. Anywhere between 5 and 7. If it's a good number, anything over 7, it gets just too difficult to schedule forums and coordinate meeting dates, especially in the summer or during the holidays. I know, having been a camp counselor in I know how this upcoming season drives the economy there, and, scheduling a screening committee during the latter part of that might be a little difficult, so the more people you have, the more difficult it's going to be. We also suggest that this select board, because leadership is important, when they appoint the screening committee, to appoint the chairman. A lot of good chairmen or chairs don't volunteer. And you really need a strong chair who's not bashful, who can move the process, move the consultant, and move the members, and get you a good product. In terms of people, generally we suggest that they be representative. Some people that would stand up in town meeting and, the type everybody all of a sudden says, oh, so-and-so says you have arrows. That's critically important. You may want to have representatives from stakeholder groups that you think are important to your relationships and important to your success and also to the town administrator's success. What I will say is, having been in the profession for 40 years and worked with screening committees as an applicant and also as a consultant, they're great, after you appoint, they're a great resource for your new town administrator. They are a trusted voice, and, generally they're buying to the candidates that they recommend and they want to see them successful, so that they develop individual relationships with the candidates. And when they do get appointed, they're not bashful about, helping them along, helping them integrate into the community, help them be part of the community, and being a great voice that they can trust. So, that's a brief overview. I think I've covered what you've asked me to cover. If you have any specific questions about anything particular to the proposal that we've made, I'm happy to answer. But I'd much rather listen to you than to hear myself talk.
All right, thank you. Questions from the board? Ann?
Not yet.
Okay, Christine?
I do have a question. I'm not sure, Rick, if this is going to be directed to you or maybe to our town clerk. In the past, with our town administrator screening committee, we've designated the position of screening committee member as a special municipal employee. I'm not sure if that carries over or if that's something that we would need to do for this screening committee as well. I just want to make sure we don't miss that step procedurally on our end.
I think when you appoint them, you also have a motion to designate them as special employees should be set, whether it's character or not.
Okay, because it's the position, not the person.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Jed?
No questions, just want to thank you, Rick, for submitting your proposal to us and look forward to working with you.
Thanks. I also try to keep the select board involved. There's some things I can't share, but, the greatest gift that a manager gets is email, because it cuts down on 5 calls. So it's really easy for me to give you an update of where the process is, how many applications we have, when the screening committee meets, and just so that you aren't disenfranchised from the process. I find that helps too. So, just because you're receiving a product doesn't mean that you'll be estranged from it, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, Joe?
Hi, I'm the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. I just liked your presentation. It was short and thorough, and I believe strongly in a lot of things that you said. One question I have, you said a wide net. What do you mean by a wide net? What is the geographical area you're calling as a wide net?
Well, I was, first of all, I spent 40 years as a manager in Massachusetts. So I know a lot of the managers, some are a lot older, some of them are a lot younger. They scare me, because I don't know them. But, I try to, if I don't know anybody in the area, I try to call someone I trust and I can ask them if they can give me a referral to talk to someone about. And I asked them, I explained to them about the opportunity and what we're looking for, and asked them if they know any managers. It's a small community, and they meet regularly, and they know each other. And, being a town manager or town administrator, it's an incredibly isolated and lonely job. So the one group that you can hang your head with, and take off your hat and relax with is the managers. So I rely on them a lot to connect to other people. And, I've done a lot of recruitment. I also connect with the staff in the communities that I work with, and sometimes some of the staff in places like Orleans actually have roots in western Massachusetts, and I get, referrals and tips from that. Especially if you develop decent relationships and, respectful relationships. This job isn't going to be successful without the help and without me contacting a lot of different people for referrals. This is a tough market. I suspect the western part of the state market is even, tougher. And, I'm going to have to rely on, relationships and referrals, I guess.
Okay, I do concur with your statement about baby boomers. I'm in that category, and I strongly believe that our generation, people are more in tune to want to really serve civic government. And why do you think there's that for a reason? Is it financial reason, or is it something that, isn't what most people would, I would think that this job would at least require a bachelor's degree and preferably a master's degree. So what are your thoughts about why so few are interested in getting involved with local government?
Well, not to say that right now we are living in unusual times.
Yes, we are.
But growing up in the 50s and 60s, we lived in a window of spiraling change and, a dynamic political environment with also a lot of charismatic leaders who were risk takers, some were opportunists, but constantly established, a focus on doing good, regardless of what you're in service, regardless of what your understanding of doing good is. And I think consequently a lot of, people in our generation gravitated towards service. Then you have the era of business and, mergers and acquisitions and trust funds and, stock market takeovers and money. And, all of the charismatic and cultural leaders at that time, and the focus of that generation was around the business community. It's not an issue of, right or wrong, it's just what influences you. And, so a lot of people have gone into service in our generation when it delivered. But I am seeing, encouragingly, a group of young people that are committed to local government service. And it's heartening to me because I care really about the profession. I'm not doing this to get rich. I tell everybody that I don't have any small motor skills, so I can't fix or build anything. I have to keep myself busy somehow, so I do this. But I also care deeply about the profession and the importance of a professional, apolitical manager that works as a servant leader in the community and works to serve the board and to make them effective, to help them be effective.
Thank you. Very well said. That's something I believe strongly in a lot of things that you said, so thank you. And that's all I have.
Okay, Christine?
Sorry, I had another question as you were talking. So, as you mentioned, you have 400 people on your mailing list, and you also said kind of in that same comment that recruiting for Western Massachusetts is going to be a little bit more difficult. To add to that difficulty, we are up against 2 other vacancies in Western Massachusetts. So the towns of Great Barrington and Dalton also have vacant positions for their town administrator or town manager, whichever their structure might be. And they're going to be paying more than what we budgeted to be paying. So with those pieces, as I'm putting them together for you, how would you be separating Adams apart from those communities? We are the largest town in Berkshire County, the 3rd largest community. So it's Pittsfield, North Adams, and then Adams in terms of population. So at times we do run somewhat like a small city because of the size of our population and our operation, but we don't have the budget or the staffing to necessarily operate as a city would or as a larger town would. So we do have, and I know you'll get into that with all of our different interviews, but I guess if you wanted to start off by just letting us know how you're going to separate Adams from the Daltons and the Great Barringtons and everybody else in Massachusetts who's looking for these top positions.
Well, first of all, I'd be negligent if I didn't encourage you to take an opportunity to look at being competitive with that. Because that clearly is an inhibitor in terms of quality. But, the difference is, and I put up communities now, they'll sell location, I'll sell opportunity. So generally, if I get to understand the community and you talk to enough people and, verify, some of the challenges and some of the drawbacks and some of what was successful in the past and what wasn't and why, and I can have decent conversations with candidates. Or when I talk about the community and sell the community, I'm really talking about the opportunity. And every manager wants to come into a place, make a difference, know that they have a chance to make a difference, and understand what success is. So I think that's the difference. But, the great equalizer is, comparability in terms of pay. I really think you're doing yourself a disservice when you know that you can't compete financially and you don't at least look at.
We did increase the salary by $15,000 from the previous administrator, brings us to $125,000 is what's in the budget currently, which goes to town meeting on June 17th, so hopefully they approve it. But that's still going to be about $45,000 short of what Great Barrington is offering and about $15,000 to $20,000 short of what Dalton is providing. Our last 2 town administrators left because of financial gain that they were able to, our last town administrator was able to increase his salary by about $60,000 by moving to the town of Lennox. And previous to that, it was about, I think, $50,000 to $60,000 for moving from Western Mass to Eastern Mass. But even increasing that line item for a salary of $125 has been a struggle. It's not necessarily always a popular decision to increase that salary line item. So I was happy to hear you say that we're going in the right direction to try to make ourselves a little bit more comparable when we look at salary.
Okay.
What is your thoughts on that 125?
Well, especially, here's the thing, you might have, I mean, you have to look at the turnover. And if you've got a lot of turnover in your profession and you can't keep one, that's a problem, and you have to look at it. Sometimes it's leadership that is the culprit, but, here it clearly seems like it's financial. I have a lot of entertaining stories about being a manager in the public sector, and all of them good, and I had a great career for myself, and I loved every second of it. But it's a grind. You're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your family sacrifices a lot. You sacrifice a lot. And sometimes you can get someone really good, and the pressure of all that comes up against the money and the family and how hard they have to work to be successful. And, despite the fact that you have a great community and I have nightmares about camping out at Mount Grey Lot, as a kid, as a counselor. It's really tough. I mean, my favorite story is going to Stop and Shop in Lexington. My wife wanted some food, the kids were hungry, they were buying and crying, and I got caught by some citizens who just wouldn't let me go. And my wife kept calling me on my cell phone, getting frustrated, and the fellow I was talking to, who I loved, and I wanted to listen to, kept saying, one more minute. Till finally, my wife got fed up, went to the call the courtesy booth and asked them to announce over the loudspeaker for me to bring home the bread and the milk that I was putting down for dinner. At which point, after was turned to me and said, 1 more second. So, when you have stuff like that, and you're grinding it out as a professional, and you're not getting paid, your family sees you get a lot of external pressure. And, that's why you have turnover, and, that's why you have some inconsistency in product.
Yeah, I would just like to piggyback on what Christine said. When you look at Adams, the town of Adams, our median family income is very low. We're in the poverty level here in Adams. Our community has changed. Demographically, we're getting older. I'm one of them. And our town has an influx of people that are becoming somewhat a transient population. A lot of people coming into our community are doing so for, they say, the betterment of their children, coming away from the city. They want a better life for their children. And we have people that are coming and going in this community. Our schools have over 50% of the children attending our schools are special needs students. And we're different in that respect. You talk about Great Barrington, and our last administrator went to Lennox. They've got a lot more expendable money than we do. We don't have any money coming in from Not much coming in for restaurants, for the type of tax that you could get meal tax. We don't have any place for lodging where you get extra income for lodging tax. So we're a meat and potato community, and I think that we need to realize that, I'm almost saying this not in jest, but in truth, do we really need a full-time town administrator? Could we do with an interim 20-hour-a-week town administrator?
Ken say no.
Ken say no?
I wouldn't recommend it, Joe.
Okay, all right. So let's take that out of the picture. So we're gonna get town administrator, hopefully, that, if you get someone who wants to make a real change, then this is the place to come, in my opinion, because there's gonna have to be some decisions made in this community that are gonna be hard decisions. Our tax rate is high, a lot of our homes are going up for sale, and people are just, we're really in this community, at least personally I say, the people, particularly elderly, are strapped, and they can't continue to go in the way we are. We're graduating only 40 people from our high school, and I'm not going to go on, you'll know all of this as it goes on, but Adams, our public sector thinks Adams is a cash cow, that we have, enough money to cover everything that goes on in this community, and we're seeing that we don't. So, in short, my last thing is to say is, our next town administrator is going to have to make some tough decisions. And usually when you make tough decisions, what happens is that town administrator becomes like the villain in town. And so that's just my thought, that I know this community, I've been on the board 15 years, I've lived here my whole life, and I know the community. John Duval has lived in Adams, he's the longest serving, and I've seen the community change. There's always change in every community, but our change is kind of becoming dynamic and quick. We're almost a mini melting pot now. And the last thing I'll say, I didn't see my first person of color until I was 10 years old, because I would play sports, and I went to the city of Pittsfield in a basketball tournament. So, in short, we're a complex community, and what makes us more complex is our finances don't allow us to do things that we need to do, in my opinion. So I'll stop there, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
All right, so what we'll do on that is, can you get back to Ken after you you look at your initial search with the 125, and you can give feedback to Ken where that puts us in regards to recruiting?
Might be, Jim.
What's that?
It would, I think, helpful for this board, Rick, if you could say what a competitive range would be. You may not be able to reach the Great Barrington or Lennox levels, but you might have some ideas for us. The other question I have for you is, ideally, when should we have the screening committee appointed so that you can get to work?
I'm not going to need them until, about 5 weeks into the search, so just in time. I definitely want to be thoughtful, and you make sure you get the people on it to be involved. If they understand what their role is. I can get you in charge if you'd like. I can send it to you.
Okay, great.
I'm all
Yeah.
So the first thing we need from us is a couple names from each board member, right, of influential people in the community. You're gonna need that, right?
Yeah, if you can give them a brain where you can
Yeah.
keep like that person and
All right, so,
you can get it to me.
okay, so what date do you want to get them to brief the board?
Well, I'm planning on meeting with the staff on Tuesday, if I can start meetings with them, if she can schedule people. So anytime after Tuesday.
Okay, so the board will provide two names to Bree of who they believe are influential people in the community, or any two names you want,
And contact information,
and contact information, right?
not just names.
Yeah, yeah, you have to know how to get a hold of them.
Okay, so that's our, the board's task. So the process is beginning to move. Anything else, Ken?
That's it from my end.
Anyone from the audience have anything they'd like to add? Questions? Okay, the board's good for now? All right, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it, for the opportunity, and also we all, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night. Okay, back, still on new business. Discussion of fiscal year 26 permit fees at the transfer station. Is that you, Kelly?
No, that's DPW.
That's the DPW? Okay, so we did not receive any information under this agenda item.
Tim has been on vacation, and despite my good intentions, I've been unable to really investigate this and bring any information to you, so my recommendation is to table this.
Just, Mr. Chairman, usually the tax collector or treasurer's office does provide us with how many permits have been sold, how much has been collected, the financial piece of this, so that we can make the determination about the county fees. And then the town administrator would provide us with what's in the budget, so that we can make that decision if those things are matching up. So if those things could be in place, as well as a recommendation from DPW. Thanks.
Got it?
Got it.
All right, so we need a motion to table that agenda item.
You're kidding, right? People are on my window waiting to get a price on what the new ones are gonna be.
Do you have a recommendation or
The
your
financials
financials?
do leave it the same. It's $125 a car with 3 free sheets of bag tags, and a second car is $10. I do recommend that we stay that way, only because we just went up last year. We have gone up in sales. Our permits for 25
Come to
are,
the microphone so the people at home can hear.
Can you please come to the microphone?
I do recommend that we leave it at 125 with 3 free sheets of bag tags, which is 15 bag tags that goes with the tag of $125. A second car can have one at one each house for $10 for an extra car, but you do not get bag tags with that. On the 2025, we sold 585 total, with a cost of, a income of $64,250, with 71 at $10 and 710. So we did $64,960 for fiscal 2025. Bag tags were over 11,000.
Okay. What is the board's pleasure?
I just have a question. When is the contract up for hauling? Because that's the wild card. Do you know when it is?
Do we have an agenda item?
It's an agenda item, Joe. The new contract begins July 1st.
The new contract, so we've already signed the contract.
We have not signed it. It's before you
Okay.
tonight for approval.
Okay, and what is that?
Well, there's a whole set of fees in there.
I just got this tonight, so,
Yeah, there's a whole set of fees in there, and if you have that in front of you, you can turn to page 16 and see what the hauling fees
Yeah.
are.
well, what are they suggesting? What are we gonna be paying them compared to the last round, and how long will the contract be for?
It's a separate agenda item,
Well, Mr. Chairman, your pleasure.
but, okay.
Do you want to put those together?
Well, like Kelly said, I mean, the fiscal year is coming to an end very shortly. And, you know, they have to be able to get them, because I know that, I think we've done well at our transfer station, personally. I think more than just being a place for people to go to get rid of their recyclables and their trash, I think it's a social network for a lot of people. They enjoy going up there. But my big concern is how much more is the contract for hauling than it was our last time around. And because it's getting very difficult for haulers to find places to bring the trash. And I didn't have time to look at that, and I'd like a comparison from our last contract to the one that we're about to sign this year.
We do have Linda Cernick wasn't able to be with us
Okay.
tonight. There is a representative from Casella who was able to join us. I didn't have a chance myself, Joe, to compare this contract to the last contract. All I have marked out in here are the rates, the both this year. It's a 3-year contract with a right to renew for 2 more years.
Yeah.
And I do have the representative from Casella in our meeting, and I can slide him in whenever you all are ready to speak with him, so you just give me.
He's in the he's new, or that company is new, or is it the same company again? that we currently have?
Casella's the one.
Same one? Okay, so I guess we can get that information, at least we can ask that question, what the increase is.
Mr. Chairman, do you want a motion to move the Casella Waste Management contract above this item?
Please,
Get that information?
please.
I'll make a motion to move the intermunicipal agreement between Northern Berkshire Solid Waste Management District and Casella Waste Management agenda item to now, or above the transfer station.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. Okay, could you put on the representative, please? Awesome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can't see you, but we can hear you.
Yeah. I think I'm not working right now.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so we moved the agenda item up, so if you had something you'd like to review, that's fine, and then we'll have a couple questions for you after that.
The members of the board all have the contract proposal in front of us with this year's, the upcoming rates. And Member Novak has asked for a comparison to the last contract rates, if you have that.
Yeah, so we approached this a little bit differently than the past. Last year, the price contract that we used, I think it was $397 for the MSW, the CAD, and the special rate. The disposal did go up over last year. However, we kind of balanced that with the haul rate. With a couple of towns, the MSW haul rate went down to $327 a haul at a disposal of $130 a ton, and I think the towns all voted on that to, we put two different proposals together when we wanted to go five towns based on haul time to the disposal facility, or a one single rate, and they decided they wanted to go on the MSW, they want one rate across the board. Like I said, that was at $397, now $327. Now the disposal that did go up, the CMD, they decided to go one rate as a whole, so that went from $397 actually down to $361, but the disposal went up to $140 a ton, and then the recycling rates are by town, depending, they decided to go that way by town was what to that facility. One of the things we also took into consideration too, there was the rentals on the cans that you guys rental, and the old contract kind of it mixed that into that all rate as well for the 7 cans. We did $100 a month rental on the cans. If towns that are, owned by the town that own the cans. So when you look at it from a whole perspective though, generally the CI price increase, garbage utility index, CI is around 4 to 5%. When you look at it from a whole, from what you're paying last year to this year, I want to say it came in at like 3%, I think it was, when Linda and I did the math. So, every year it's got 4 to 5, percent increase. This contract actually didn't see what that increase has been. So we were able to, the proposal went out, but we were able to save the money on the off side to kind of equal that out. And then as a whole, it didn't even beat that 4 or 5% CPI increases, town for this being every year. It's more around 3% for this new contract.
Any questions?
I have another question. Now, Casella is for sure the biggest hauler in Berkshire County, I believe. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
And so I know that Casella Waste has been purchasing other trash haulers who might want to get out of the business, and so therefore, as you continue to trudge forward, you should be able to, as you just mentioned, help communities out, because you're going to be, having really the bulk of the business. Because I know in this area, beside Casella, the only one that I can think of in northern Berkshire County of any consequence is Del Molino's hauling. And that family is getting older, and so I just wonder, is that something that you plan on doing, the purchasing power you have, because you have so many, customers in towns in Berkshire County? Is that something that you are attempting to do? And that's going to be an honest question to you. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
I can't answer that for you.
Okay.
That is not up to you.
Yeah, okay. That's out of your league. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions in regards to the,
Yeah, I would just like, through the chair, I would just like, he said this amount, but what would it be money-wise from our last contract, this contract, as far as the financial upside of it? Because it sounded good that you're doing the best for us, but...
It's around a 3% increase, which is definitely down from what it's been at, 4 to 5.
Yeah, I know you said that, but what are the numbers? Do you have them with you, or can you send them to one of our town administrator?
I have them in an email I sent to Linda at some point. I'll have to go back and find that email for what the dollar amount is. I don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you. And you'll send it forward to our town administrator when you have it?
Yeah, I'll send it to Linda and have her report it all to you.
Okay, thank you.
okay, any other questions? Okay, reminder that we are on new business F. What is the board's pleasure?
What are we voting on?
The contract in front of us.
Oh.
I have a question that maybe Kelly, you could answer for us. He's saying we approximately have a 3% increase because you work with you pay the bill, no, you don't pay the bill. Well, a 3% increase, leaving it at the 125, you feel that would be sufficient for this?
Last year it was, total of both of them is $65,000 that we brought in, between the bag tags and the permits. And that is almost not, what is it, almost $8,000 more than last year.
That you collected.
24, yeah. I I think we still would be able to do it. You know, like a 3% increase.
So if we have, leave it at the 125, this contract is for 3 years,
There's a CPI adjustment, though.
CPI adjustment.
Yes.
So that if we are getting close at the end of next year, that we could raise it next year, because we have a,
If you raise it, the fees are likely to go up because the consumer price index will
Yes.
increase.
The Casella fees.
Yes, the Casella fees will go up.
Yeah.
It's written into this contract.
Yeah.
The CPI and escalators. So you could raise the permit fees next year to cover that if you needed to. Because the idea was to make the transfer station pay for itself.
right.
Okay, so in front of the board is item F, the approval of the intermunicipal agreement between Northern Berkshire Solid Waste Management District and Casella Waste Management.
I'll make a motion to approve the intermunicipal agreement between Northern Berkshire Solid Waste Management District and Casella Waste Management for the term July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ann. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I'd like to see the figure.
And one
And-
one abstention. All right, now we're going back to the item D, discussion of fiscal year 26 permit fees at the transfer station. Kelly has recommended that we keep the prices from the current fiscal year. Does the board have any questions, or do we are ready to make a motion? Go ahead.
Kelly, you mentioned it's $125 with the three free sheets, which is 15 tags,
Yes,
$10 per extra car for the
correct.
household does not include the extra tags. But can you remind us what the cost of a sheet is and what the cost of an individual bag tag
Yeah, an individual bag tag is $1.20. A sheet of 5 is $8. We only sell them at a sheet of 5 for $8.
Any other questions for Kelly?
They can only add one extra car?
Correct, you can only have 2 permits per
Per-
address.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just like to say, if we continue to raise our prices, will get to a point where they'll find it more advantageous to get a hauler. So I think that I kind of concur with Kelly to keep it like it is, and if the index goes up where we need to raise them, then I think we can do it.
And just so you guys know, I've done some comparisons with the haulers, a few of them around town. And we're still, for the year, when it comes out per year, we're still almost $200-something cheaper than them using a hauler.
Okay.
That's a good point. Any other questions for Kelly?
So Kelly, you said that we brought in $8,000 more. That was also a year where we increased the fee. All of a sudden I'm choking, I'm sorry. And how many permits, so you said 585 permits were sold in this last fiscal year. How many the previous fiscal year? Did it go down or?
It was 653,
Okay. So we do have less use.
and there was also less second cars, but we have more second cars this year. And they were $100, yes, last year.
Okay.
And we went up $25. And we also went up on the bag tags.
Do you track how many bag tags you sell year to year?
Yeah, I don't have how many we did last year, but the actual total for the bag tags was like 7,055, which comes up to about 11,000.
I just didn't know if like we had less permits, more tags, or...
Actually, more bag tags as well. I do know it's over what we did last year.
Okay.
I just don't know the number
Okay.
off the top of my head.
Yeah, and
Less permits, more bag tags, so, okay. Thank you.
I would just like to say also that the key to the success is the person who's up there watching what's going on. And because unfortunately, people like to do sneaky things, because I've kind of seen it a few times.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that's very important. And it's not an easy job for one person to be there and, you know, run from one spot to another, but I think they do an ample job, but that's a very important aspect of any transfer station.
Anything else? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to set the transfer station fees for fiscal year '26 to $125, which would include 3 free sheets of bag tags, 15 tags, $10 for the extra car per household, $1.20 per tag, or $8 for a sheet of 5 tags. Did you say $1.60? And I wrote down $1.20? I'm going to amend that to $1.60 per tag at $8 per sheet of 5.
Which is equal to the current fiscal year's
Which
prices.
is equal to fiscal '25.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Joe. Any further discussion?
Karen,
Motion?
I could just look for, so I can still be on the same subject. I'd like to let everybody know that we will be selling them on Saturday the 21st and Saturday the 28th from 7:30 to 2, but we are going to do it here at Town Hall. And there will, no credit cards, we don't use credit cards here at the Town Hall, so cash, check, money order. But it's gonna be on the website, the applications will be on the website tomorrow morning with all that information as well. I just want everybody to know we're gonna, because it's a mess up there with the digging and all that stuff they're doing up there right now. We don't really have a good place to go, so we're gonna do it here. We'll be here from 7:30 to 2, both on Saturdays. And I'm thinking about doing another Saturday in July, which might be the second week, because the first one is 4th or 5th. I'm not going up there. So it might be the following week, just to give them another day, so by then everybody should really have their tax.
Okay, thank you.
And I just have one question for the town administrator. That trench has been there for quite some time. When is the electric or whatever, the camera gonna be installed? I mean, that's been dug for at least 3 weeks to a month almost.
Yeah, I'll look into that, George.
Okay.
That's up at the transfer station?
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was.
yeah. I thought it was part of World War I trench warfare, you know?
Exactly.
If you could respond to all the members, that's a good,
I will.
good question.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous decision.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I believe we're down to the last item, item G. We had
We
a,
have to do E.
oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, Jesus. The biggest part of the evening. We have 6 liquor license requests, all from the Bounty Fair for use at the Adams Theater. And I believe we've done this in the past, is approved all with one motion. So if there's no one that is against that, or sees any reason why we shouldn't, we can have a motion for all 6 license requests.
I make a motion that we approve all 6 licenses, one-day liquor license application for the Bounty Fair at 200 Holland Avenue, Adams, Mass, to serve at the Adams Theater, 27 Park Street, from 7 to 10:30 p.m. The dates being June 7th, June 13th, June 14th, June 20th, June 21st, and June 27th.
Okay, motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christine, any discussion?
Yes, I have a discussion. I would like to invite the people of Adams who haven't gone to the theater to take a look at what's going on there. And so I'm putting in a plug for the town people to see what's happening in town and to attend one of the performances at the Adams Theater. And I'm sure you'll be satisfied with what you see.
Okay, any other discussion? So we have a second, right?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Non-unanimous decision. Now, to item G, approval of member Novak to head Adams Celebration of America 250. Joe?
Yeah, I would like to take on the obligation of doing so. I think it's a important benchmark. I'm telling my age, but I was on the committee for the 200th anniversary. I was one of the younger ones on the committee, and I would work hard to make it a success. I feel I've showed myself, and with the celebration of the Susan B. Anthony statue, and the ceremony went along with that, and I try to duplicate it or make it better. I'd get a committee together and I'd put the names forward to the board members. I've already had one interest before I brought this to your attention. It was Susan Denal called me and said that she thought that we should do something for the 250th anniversary, so she would be the first person that I would get on the board, and then I'd work with her and others to put together a board or a committee. I don't want it to be an ad hoc committee. I want it to be a committee where there's going to be minutes presented, financial statements put together. So I'm asking for your encouragement and your vote to proceed with this.
Any discussion?
So this would be a town-appointed committee, and you would go, the financials would go through the town, and are you looking for town staff to staff the meeting?
No, I think that we could take care of the finances. We did so with the Susan B. Anthony, but we keep you informed of our money. But I don't want the town to get involved in it to any extent other than to okay the individuals that will be on the board. I want you to give your approval. And so what you're asking me, tell me your reasoning for doing so, please.
Well, I'm just asking if it's a town-appointed board, then it sounded like you wanted town staff, and then it would fall under town financials, even fundraising.
No, that won't be the case. I just wanted to let you know who is going to be on it. I want us to be a separate entity like we did for the Susan B. Anthony celebration. I think it worked out well for us.
They were town-appointed.
They were town-appointed?
They were.
Huh.
Yeah, that committee was town-appointed.
I can't remember that being the case, so if it's been town...
Yeah, because when that committee disbanded, they had to, they dissolved everything, and it came back to the town. I mean, like,
No, it didn't come back to the town.
The plans did. The finances have not come to the town.
That's correct.
They were raised under the town's name, but they are not under the town's numbers.
Well, I'll get back to you on that unless you want my thoughts right now.
Yeah, I'm just asking about the structure of this committee so that we make sure that it's correct up front and...
Oh, it will be correct up front. I'm not going to do anything. I'll talk to Susan about it, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I did want to bring it up to the town so that people watching this knows that there's going to be something happening. And to me, it's really important. I love history, and I think we have a lot to offer in history as far as Samuel Adams and the Revolutionary War for the silver and gray. Although I've been studying it, there's no, in the Bennington Museum, any mention of them other than they do have certain things. But I won't get into the structure or the individual things that we'll be planning to do. But I'll definitely keep the town fathers here and our town administrator engaged in what's going on, and nothing will be a secret. But I'm going to make sure that it's not an ad hoc committee, that everything that we're doing will be able for anyone who wants to look at it and see. I think it worked out well for us in the Susan B. Anthony and celebration. So if there's any further questions that you're not thinking of now, please let me know and I'll get an answer to you.
Thank you for stepping up, and I would just recommend working with the other communities in Berkshire County that are putting together the events. And I know that there's a collection of them on berkshires.org, any of the events that are happening as part of Berkshire County, and those are being fed into the Mass 250
Right.
plan. So I would recommend that, and then if there are any Mass Cultural Council grants that are
Right,
left.
yeah, I was thinking that, yeah.
I know that money went quickly,
Yes,
so
I know it did.
if there's anything there, I would suggest.
Yeah,
that
I
as well.
will call
But thank you.
our town official, our representatives in Mass House and in the Senate, and
I make a motion that we approve member Novak to head Adams Celebration of America 250.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christine, any discussion?
So I guess my discussion is, do we have to actually approve member Novak? Because it's not going to be a town
That's true.
board.
It's an ad hoc.
It's an ad,
Right.
yeah. So it sounds like if he's doing this on his own, which thank you
Right.
for stepping up,
Yeah,
Joe,
yeah.
absolutely. Other than giving him our personal blessings, I don't think we necessarily have to make an approval here for this, since the town's not gonna have it involved, other than just be able to.
well, you definitely will know what's going on, that's for sure.
I'm just afraid if we approve it, then all of a
Then
sudden,
we're precedent.
and then we're on the hook for whatever may happen,
Yep.
Not as a death, but,
So for now, Christine, will you put your second and will you put your motion?
I'll call my approval, motion for approval.
All right.
but thank you for stepping
Oh,
up, Joe.
yeah, you're welcome.
Great, I'm glad someone's doing something for this, so, thank you.
Any questions from the audience? Everybody good? All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.